Well, fret dressing these roasted maple fingerboards definitely brings some extra challenges as far as being able to cover your tracks. I've masked this and then remasked it after running the file along the edge to do the edge dress, and it comes with the territory when you're doing a maple neck, especially the roasted maple, because oftentimes they're an oil finish, so the masking tape doesn't quite stick as well. And you'll see when I take this apart. I'm going to bring you in for a even a closer look. If you do it right, it should look like nobody's even been here. Now I will go over that with a scrub block as well, but I'm going to put an extra piece of masking tape along the edge before I do. Okay, base side. This is the Lee Valley auger file, and I'm just getting that sharp tip on the bottom of the crown on the outside edge. There are no teeth on the face, just on the edge. Just want to get those sharp tips before we go over it with the scrub block. Yeah, so oftentimes, you know, on a maple fingerboard, you're masking and remasking as the job moves along. Oh, and need a piece of tape here. Another piece of tape to choke up tight to the bottom of that crown. You can see a little bit of exposed maple right there. I'm going to double up the tape now that I've taken care of those sharp tips. And this is before I run over there with a scrub block. Just again, covering our tracks. Just a little bit of extra reassurance. I have the cloth back 400 grit just to knock off the last of those barbs. Much better. Okay, other side. You definitely need cloth back because this will just shred your regular sandpaper. Get around this side. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, I just hit it with 600. I'm hitting it now with 800. Get rid of the last little bit. Yeah. This side, same deal. And this is where the leveling took place at this top end. So we hit that first with the 400, and that gets rid of any tune marks left by the leveling file. And now we continue with 600. 800. Emery cloth. Full length now with the 800 and the emery cloth. 4-0 steel wool. This is our final touch with liquid compound, ultra-fine liquid compound. And keep in mind that the fingerboard has been completely masked off so that we cover our tracks completely and nobody would know we were even here. I'm going to rub that in and then rub it off. So this is Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. I just picked this up at the local Canadian Tire. And it works beautifully for this kind of final buff out before we pull this tape off. Alright, we're done. Ready to pull the tape. So wanted to give you a real close-up as we pull this tape off. You can see obviously I've taped over the pickups, and if there's even a trace of any type of dust from the steel wool, instead of trying to vacuum it up, I just put another piece of tape over top. So let me just show you on this side what we've got. We started by running a piece of Scotch tape, clear Scotch tape, along the edge of the fingerboard. It was the first piece of tape that went on. Then everything went over top of that. There isn't even the slightest telltale sign of any smudging on that roasted maple. It's even more obvious on a clean white maple fingerboard. So just bringing you in as we move along. Now we're getting started on the treble side. Same deal. We just peel back that Scotch tape. The Scotch tape is much thinner than the masking tape, so it really allows us to get in tight to the bottom of that crown. Moving right along. And that is how we complete an ultra clean, undetectable fret dress on a maple fingerboard. Now that the action height has been determined on the two outside strings, initially when I use this self-adjusting radius gauge, I always hike those middle four up out of the way. Now we're going to drop it down so that just barely kisses. The foam that I use in these gauges is light enough that it will not lift the strings up. Here's our final calibration. Just to give you an idea how much displacement there is, there's the underside of that cantilevered compensated nut. Well, we are about to block that tremolo system. I'm going to show you how I do that. But before we do, I do a complete setup so that the customer at any time in the future, if he decides to slip those blocks out, his guitar will be perfectly set up. See how that takes a little while for it to float back to center. All right, let's flip it over and put those blocks in. So what we have here is a press fit piece of ultra high molecular density plastic, UHMD. Here on top of that we've got some mid-density foams. When Tyler screws his back plate on, that just presses up against that foam to hold that in place. I've run that strip of lighter density foam underneath the springs so we don't get any sympathetic resonance or ringing. There is a piece of hockey puck ahead of the block. That has completely immobilized it, but at the same time it's completely reversible. Because we set this up without any of this stuff in place, if the customer decides at any time in the future that he wants to switch it back, he doesn't need to get his guitar set up again. He just pulls that out and he's good to go. Okay, so we'll close that up. Okay, before we go into the studio and plug it in, check it out. Here's our last and final calibration check. I do have my foam mutes in there. As I pointed out in the last several videos, this ClearTune software is corrupted for the G. I don't know why that is. So we're going to switch over to a different tuner for the third string. This is the Peterson app. Second string. Back to ClearTune. And finally, the high E. Whew, okay, we're done. Well, we finally get to play this guitar, and I gotta say, the way they got this wired and these pickups, man, oh man, there's a real plethora of different sounds. So I'm going to start with the neck pickup, and this is the chord progression that I looped. So I'm going to just play over top of that. I did want to take a minute and just go pickup to pickup so you can kind of hear the different sounds. So that is the neck pickup. I'm wide open there, just master volume, master tone. So this is these two. Got that beautiful out of phase, snaky kind of, that wiry Strat sound. Big tall fret too, so lots of grip for bending. Here's our middle pickup. So neck pickup. And then these two out of phase. Middle pickup. And then bridge and middle out of phase. Middle and bridge out of phase. And then just the bridge straight up. Okay, so here is middle and bridge out of phase. And straight bridge. So neck. Neck and middle. Just the middle. And middle and bridge. And just straight bridge. So I'm going to let that loop play, which is kind of a G major or E minor thing, I guess, however you want to blow over it.